Welcome, folks. Let me get my chat box up so we can communicate with each other. It says here that there are 5 of you here now, and I know some more are coming. So you have a nice little intimate class. Bobby, Elizabeth, Jennifer, Nora, and Uranus. You want to help me say your name? Put your microphone on. Ms. Peralta.
Yeah, it's Uranus.
Uranus.
Yeah.
Welcome to class.
Thank you.
What ethnic nationality was that name come from?
It's a bit of it originates from Mexico.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Where are you? What state are you studying for?
New York.
New York. I got 3 of my favorite grandchildren live on Long Island. Where do you live?
Oh, nice. I'm actually in the Bronx now, but I'm originally from Manhattan.
Aha. Where all the action is.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night, my son is taking his wife out for her birthday to go to see a Broadway show.
Oh, nice. What Broadway show are they gonna see?
Sweeney Todd with Josh Groban.
Oh, nice. I went I went to see the Rockettes in December. My birthday was the 26th of December, and I gifted myself the Rockettes, and I've seen Wicked. So yeah, they're amazing.
You got gypped. Your birthday's on the 26th, so every year your parents just split your Christmas gifts up. You're gonna get 2. You gotta. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
My wife has a sister who was born on the 27th, and a younger sister, and the parents wouldn't let them open Christmas presents until they came home with the baby.
Oh my gosh.
And it wasn't until like the 28th, and by then the kids were like climbing the walls.
Oh my gosh.
Well, all parents have ways to abuse their kids, right?
I know, right?
Well, welcome to class.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Excited. Holy cow. Now the pressure's on. All right. So Rhonda is, I think, a new name I haven't mentioned. Kelly, I don't know if I talked about you yet. Is that Chanel and Bobby?
Yep, that's Chanel.
Chanel, okay. Guys, do me a favor. On the chat box, would you just type in the abbreviation for the state that you're studying for? I get to know you a little bit. New York, Alabama, Maryland, Ohio, Kentucky the Beast, Texas, North Carolina, South Carolina. I thought because of the time, Bobby, a sister. I'm in Arizona. Where are you residing in Arizona? Life first, then health. Bobby, you're not going to tell me where you are in Arizona? I'm not going to come visit you. Don't worry.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm in Surprise.
Surprise?
Yes.
You and I are in the same county, about as far away from each other as humans can be. I think I'm over 100 miles from you, and yet we're in the same county. I'm in Queen Creek. I'm in the southeast part of the county, and you're in the northwest. You could put Rhode Island in between us and have room to spare.
Yes, I have a son that lives in Queen.
You do?
Yes, I do.
You see him once a year?
No, I actually see him quite often.
Your volume's a little low, so I'm gonna pretend I know what you're saying.
Sorry about that. I actually see him quite often.
Oh, quite often?
Yes, I do. I see them quite often, actually.
Do you know gas is about $4 a gallon?
Yes, if you buy it at Costco, it's even less.
That's right. That's right. All right, well, excuse us for class. Bobby and I are doing a little Arizona chat here, getting to know each other. Welcome to class. I think we're a couple minutes past the start time, so I'm going to just, if other people come, we're going to let them join in. One other question, if you would, type a Y or an N. If you've ever played Cahoots before, it's Y for yes. If you never have, put an N in. Everybody has played Cahoots before, except for Uranus and Bobby. All right, it's easy to do. You'll catch on pretty quick. Introduction. My name's Peter Lemieux. I am 110 years old. I've been in the insurance business for, believe it or not, about 48 plus years. I told my children I'm too old and too stupid to do anything else. In those years, I've had a lot of hats. I've done a lot of different things. But believe it or not, for about 15 of those years, I was responsible for training and educating people to pass state exams. And for the last 7 years, that's what I've been doing a lot of. So I have some familiarity on what we got to do to help you pass a test. I am working with my good friend, Melissa Dillon. And Melissa Dillon and I have on and off for the last few years helped each other out with doing the same thing, teaching people. She is the best. Absolutely. When I first met Melissa, I said, why is she so good? Two things. If you've met her or seen her videos, she's got ever-ending energy. She's she's going all the time. I get tired talking to her. And when we first started working together, I was trying to figure out why she's such a good teacher. And she told me that she used to teach second and third graders. Well, to get through to second and third graders, you got to try to get out of the clouds and make things make sense. That's always been my approach to teaching insurance. So we've hit it off from the beginning. We have mutual respect, and she's asked me to come in and help her out. And I am super excited to be part of Insurance Exam Queen, Melissa Dillon. We're here tonight to play a game. I think it's about life and health basics. Is that correct? Is somebody here for a different reason? Somebody here for watchmaking or car repair? All right, Rhonda, I hear you. Watch and listen. Play the game. It's really simple to play, and it'll make it more fun. I'm going to make another suggestion. Melissa records these. So when we're done, in short order, she's going to put it up there if you want to re-watch it. But despite that, I think it will help you in your studying if you have in your hand a writing instrument, pencil, pen, Crayola, magic marker, something, because something's going to be said and you're going to want to remember it. And you may not want to go back and watch a 2-hour video to remember 2 or 3 things, and you can just write it down. You know, something you want to remember, something you want to study, something that was said. So also when we engage by writing, we have a better chance of remembering things. If I only listen, I'm only engaging with one sense. But if I'm listening, and in this sense, we're going to be playing a game, so you're engaging in another way. Then if you're writing, it's another way, your retention level goes up, okay? So I don't have a big ego. You'll never hurt my feelings, okay? So if you want to challenge me on something, all you need to do is click in the participants. Your names are listed under the tab that says participants. Just click on the microphone and your microphone will be active, and you can say, hey, Peter, did you really mean to say that? Because it didn't make any sense. Yeah, it didn't make any sense. Tell me. Or you can communicate with me on the chat box. Okay. For me to just talk to you for 2 hours, I don't know what that accomplishes. I want you to be able to say, I've been studying this. I don't get it. I still don't get it. Can you explain it a different way? That's what I'm here for. We're going to play a game and I'm going to do some teaching. Okay, that's the game plan for the evening. If obviously you're in your own private place, if you need to get up and stretch or go get a glass of a non-alcoholic beverage, feel free to do so. And I came prepared with my large glass of water so my throat won't go away. So what we're going to do right now is I'm going to press a button that says share screen. Won't make any sense until I pull up the game, but just be patient with me, okay? Now, can you folks see that we're loading up a Kahoot game? I better get my chat box where I can see the chat box. Because right now, Rhonda just passed personal lines this week 5 times. Rhonda, I don't know if this will be true for you, but I found life and health to be easier than personal lines. Don't know if it will be for you, but you are well aware that these tests are not simple. You have to do a lot of work. Hopefully you guys can see the screen. If you can't, let me know. It says get ready to join. What you need to do is get your phone and punch in kahoot.it. When that comes up, you've got to enter the PIN number, which is 970 212 2012. 970 2012. I just put that in the chat box. If you get bounced out of the game, your computer goes down or something, you can come back in the game in the middle. Just join in by going to kahoot.it and enter in the right PIN number. If we've started the game and you didn't have the PIN number down, it appears on the screen under every question. So you'll be able to get back in. What's going to happen is I'm going to read a question. There will be 4 answers, and you will click on your phone which answer you think is right. There's only 30 seconds allowed for an answer, so don't go looking it up or anything like that. It's not like I'm giving away a $10,000 prize for winning this. So just do the best you can and we'll learn. After 30 seconds, we're going to show the right answer, and I'll try to explain what the question was about and what they were looking for. That's when you may be tempted to take some notes when I'm actually doing some teaching. I am more interested in understanding the questions than I am to racing through to get the Kahoot game done. But if you care about scoring, you get points for getting it right, and you get points for speed. So if 2 of you answer a question right, the one who answers it first will get a few more points than the one who answers it second. So you accumulate points by getting it right, because if you get it wrong, you get no points. Get it right, and then it's how fast you got to the answer. Are there any questions? It'll make sense once I start playing it. All right, I'm going to start the game. Just a second. Kahoot at home. Look at this nice home with a big television set. Life and health insurance, provisions, clauses, and riders. And the first question is, I can't read it because the chat box is in front of it. Can renew till 65, increase premium on a class basis only. Okay, the right answer is, excuse me, I'm trying to get my screen clear. I told you technology and I have fights. The correct answer is guaranteed renewable, and 5 out of 8 of you got it right. So let me just address this issue. These are going to be on your test. What is the renewability clause in your policy? Because this is in health insurance now, just to let you know what we're talking about. This is in health insurance, and you can buy different types of health insurance policy. The type of policy you buy tells you if you can renew the plan or not. The two most important ones are guaranteed renewable and non-cancelable. The right answer here is guaranteed renewable. The insurance company cannot take that policy away from you. It's guaranteed to be renewable. However, they can increase the rates on a class basis, meaning I can't just say to Rhonda, I see you went in the hospital last year. You're going to get a 40% rate increase. Everybody else gets 2%. They're going to take a look at everyone that has the plan and says, based on our experience and inflation, you're going to get a 3, 4, 5, 6% increase for everyone. The sick and the healthy get the same increase. But if you want to keep the plan, you certainly can. Understand that you are subject to increases. When you study, you're going to find out there's another plan called non-cancelable. And what we see here is both those plans sound like the same thing. If I have a non-cancelable policy, the insurance company can't take it away from me. Guaranteed renewable, they can't take it away from me. The difference is at this. The non-can, let me talk like an insurance jargon, the non-can policy, the rates can never increase. That's the prize. And you know what? It's almost impossible to find that policy. But if you got it, you would never want to let it go because the insurance company can't increase the rates. Optionally renewable, that means it's the option of the insurance company, not you. So the insurance company decides whether they're going to insure it or not. And get this, they don't even need a reason. That's a stinky option. Okay. I don't know. If you got an optionally renewable policy, you're completely at the whim of an insurance company, whether you can keep it or not. Cancelable means the insurance company can cancel it. Okay. They're a little bit different. They're in their text. The right answer here is guaranteed renewable. Now I'm going to go a little bit faster than this, but I want to know if you think I'm going too slow, I'm explaining stuff you already know. I'm not here to bore you. Tell me. Okay. If these explanations are helpful, tell me. I need to know how it's going for you. I can't see you guys. So, I mean, I could be putting you to sleep and wouldn't know it. So don't be afraid on the chat box to say something so I know you're there. Let's go.
Non-cancelable. Can you go over that again?
Non-cancelable, not only can you keep it, but the insurance company can never increase your rates. Pretty cool deal. That's the best plan. Now, all these health insurance policies, I shouldn't say all and never, right? Almost all of these health plans will end when you turn 65. So while the insurance company can't take it away from you, once you go on Medicare, you're not going to keep this policy because you're going to go on Medicare. Okay. So when I say it's non-cancelable or guaranteed renewable, that's usually to age 65. Another little trivial thing that comes up on the test. Notice how I like questions. Don't be shy. Okay. First we get the scorecard. After one question, Elizabeth is in first, Nora second, Jennifer, Rhonda, and B is in fifth place. Long way to go here. The next question says, I pay my policy premium semi-annually. My grace period is how long? The answer is 31 days. 7 out of 9 of you got that right. In health insurance, again, we're still in a health insurance questionnaire. The grace period, I haven't even told you what a grace period is, but I'm just going to assume we're okay on that. And later on, I might be picking that up. But the grace period depends on how you pay your policy. If you're writing, write these three numbers down. 7, 10, 31. The day you go in for the state exam, have 7, 10, 31 memorized. Correct. Can't increase your premium on a non-cancelable policy. If you pay your health insurance policy every week, I've never seen that policy, but if you pay every week, you have a 7-day grace period. If you pay it every month, you have a 10-day grace period. All the other ways you have 31 days. So quarterly, semi-annual, annual will be 31. This policy is semi-annual, it's 31. I memorized 7, 10, 31. Weekly, monthly, all the rest. And what determines how long your grace period is how you pay your payments, what mode you have. So if I'm paying monthly and I tell the insurance company I want to change to semi-annual, with my next payment, I will have a 31-day grace period instead of 10. Make any sense? We still friends? I'm still on your Christmas card list? Okay. How do we do in the scoring? Jennifer went ahead of Elizabeth by a couple points. Then we got Nora B, and Florida Girl is a new one on the list. Next question says both parties bring value to each other. And the answer is consideration. Everyone got it right. I'm going home. Woohoo! I got a genius class here. Consideration. That shows you guys have been doing some studying here. In consideration, the definition of consideration is both parties bring something of value, the insurance company and the applicant. And that's the definition of consideration. And I got 9 people who either knew it, are really, really good guessers. Anybody want to ask me something about it? Because I'm going to move on, seeing you got it all right, unless someone's got a question. Taking it to the streets. Okay. What do we got here? Jennifer, Nora, Elizabeth B, and Florida Girl. I'm going to go to the next question. Who can change the wording of a policy? The wording of the policy can only be changed by an executive officer of the insurance company. The agent can't do it. The insured can't do it, but the executive can change it with some limitations, right? I mean, they can't do something illegal and say, you know, we're not covering that anymore, even though we said we would. But when we say change, we're talking about the wording, not the real commitments of the policy. But the executive officer of the insurance company is allowed to do that. Nobody else. How did that do to our scores? Seems to me like B moved up to 3rd place. I don't know if Kelly's had her name up there yet, but she's in the running now. Next question. I need to call and inform the insurer of a loss within 20 days. What are we talking about? That is a notice of claim. There's a difference between a notice of claim and a proof of loss. A notice of claim is just telling the insurance company, I have a claim and I'm going to be submitting it. You can do that on the phone. But you're never going to get a check by calling them in and say, I broke my arm and I'm going to the hospital. They're just going to say, and you gave them a notice of claim. To get it paid, you have to prove to the insurance company that a loss occurred. In medical insurance, most of the time that's done by the hospital or the doctor. You don't even do it. But you just need to know what it means to have notice of claim and proof of loss. The insurance company will never pay a claim till they get a proof of loss, which must be in writing. Notice of claim does not have to be. And they're telling us that you're supposed to notify the company within 20 days. Here's a secret between you and me. If you don't do it, they still have to pay the claim. But this is a question they like to put on the test. 20 days to notify the company. What did that do to the charts? A little bit change. Jennifer, Nora, Florida Girl, and Kelly are listed. Let's go to the next question. So far, all our questions have been about health insurance. I don't want you to get that mixed up. I pay my policy premium monthly. How long is the grace period for a monthly policy?
Peter, can you check the waiting room? Somebody says they're waiting.
I will do that. Thank you for telling me. Oh, 2 people. 2 people joined us. Forgive me for not letting you in. I just didn't look. So you were beating on the door and I was watching TV or something, but welcome. We're playing a Kahoot game. Let me deal with this question and I'll tell you how to play it. Monthly premium grace period is 10 days. If you remembered my 7-10-31, 7 is for weekly and monthly is 10. 31 is the others. For my new participants that are joining, I see somebody is joining, but not quite here yet. We're playing a Kahoot game. To play the game, you need to go on your phone, go to kahoot.it, kahoot.it. It's going to ask you for a PIN number. That's at the bottom of the screen. The PIN number is 9702012. Once you do that, they'll put you in the game and you can play along with us. Next question. It looks like the leaders stayed identically the same. The next question says, allows the insurer to cancel at any time. And the correct answer is the green answer, which is a cancelable policy. However, the one person who voted for optionally renewable, I understand why you did it. Because I told you an optionally renewable policy, the insurance company can cancel for any reason, but they can only cancel at the renewal date. When the policy is supposed to renew, they can't cancel at any time. To cancel at any time, they would have to have a cancelable policy. Anybody want to ask me questions about that as I tweak this information?
Can you give a little more detail about optional renewal?
Yeah, as it says in the book, the optionally renewable actually made me laugh. It says that the insurance company can renew or not for any reason or no reason at all. But they can only make that decision at the renewal date of the policy. So if you buy a policy January 1st and it renews the next January 1st, that optionally renewable policy you can keep through the year. But when it comes up time to renew, the insurance company does not have to let you renew it. Now, a cancelable policy says any time during the year, the insurance company can just come in and cancel it. Does that help explain that?
Yes, thank you.
You are more than welcome. I have a young lady, I don't know if she's a young lady or not, but trying to join, I'll admit, and not coming in. So I don't know what to do about her. It just says joining and it never gets. Not your problem, right, folks? Next, well, let's see how we're doing on our leaderboard. Looks like we had some motion. The leaderboard, I got Jennifer, Nora, Florida Girl B, and Noemi are the top 5 players. Let us go to see what the next question has to bear for us. Where would the insured look to see their rights for cancellation? There's a place in the policy where you can read what your rights are. Where would it be? Well, it's either cancellation clause or rights of renewability. 5 people said it was the insuring agreement. Well, let's take a time out here and talk about insuring agreements since so many of you thought it was that. Let me tell you what an insuring agreement is. Insuring agreement in your policy is the insurance company makes a promise to pay claims. Obviously, they have to be covered claims, but they make a promise that if it's a claim that's covered, they promise to pay it. That's what the insuring clause is about. It's the engine to the car. It says, we're going to pay our claims. That's why we call it the insuring clause. We're going to insure you. Now, whether I can keep the policy or not, it is either rights of renewability or a cancellation clause. So here's a little hint for your test. There's no such thing as a cancellation clause. Sounds like there should be, but there isn't. It's called the rights of renewability. And you're either going to have guaranteed renewable, non-cancelable, optionally renewable, cancelable. You're going to get a policy that's one of those types, and it's going to be found under the rights of renewability. Are we doing okay?
So will the question on the exam have the word, okay, see how that says to see their rights for cancellation?
Yeah.
The exam, will it have rights of renewability? You see
Yeah,
what I'm
'cause
saying?
that's the right answer. And the reason they use the word cancelable at the question is they're trying to trick you. They're trying to get you to say cancellation clause. These insurance tests, and that person who just passed the personal lines, they'll tell you they don't play fair with their questions.
That
But
was me.
if you understand the language, you won't be faked out. There is no such thing as a cancellation clause. And a word about the test. Good news. None of you people are going to be asked to explain anything. You're just going to read the question and find which of the 4 answers makes the most sense to that question. It's kind of like a matching game. I've come to believe over time, a lot of your questions are like solving a mystery. Everybody likes to solve a mystery. There are clues in the question, and you got to find which of the 4 answers meets the clues. So what I'm telling you right now is the ability to read and understand the question is the key to passing tests. Let me linger one more issue. What makes insurance tests difficult is the language they use. It's not a language we use normally. Rights of renewability, cancellation clause. Nobody talks like that. But now I got to learn this language or I can't pass the test. So it's not bad for you to think of yourself as saying, I'm learning a foreign language and I've got to learn what every word means. You should have in your study material somewhere a glossary that you can look words up. And if you don't, do what every human being does, Google it. And see what the word means and write it down. So when the word comes up, you go, oh, I remember that. I remember that. I've been studying that word. So there is no such thing as a cancellation clause. It's always the rights of renewability. And we've already seen what the different renewability rights can be. Non-cancelable, guaranteed renewable, cancelable, optionally renewable. Those are all, your policy is going to be one or the other, correct? So that's what I'm advising you to do. Yes, we're playing a game, but that's the trick I play. What we're really doing is we're teaching information. So far, some of these questions pertain to both life and health, but these renewability clauses, that's a health insurance question, okay? In fact, almost all the questions so far have been health oriented. I got another Kahoot. If this ends up being almost all health, I got another one. So I'm not going to deprive you of life insurance questions. Florida girl, where did that come from? Oh, first place right now. Next question. Application plus policy riders and amendments. Well, you guys did that fast. That is, in fact, the entire contract. Some people have been doing some studying. One person thought grace period got nothing to do with grace period. When you take the policy and you add the application to it, the policy plus the application, any riders or amendments, that's called the entire contract. So that's on the test, believe it or not. I don't think it's that hard to figure that out. Well, my friend Blanca is trying to get in again. We hope we'll let her in this time. Do you ever watch movies about those old bars when liquor was illegal called speakeasies? You had to open the door and say a secret word. That's what I feel it's like for poor Blanca. She keeps trying to come in and we're not letting her in. Blanca, you're here. Goodness gracious. You said the secret word that let you into the speakeasy. Welcome to our class. And you don't know what I'm talking about? Neither does the class. Most of the stuff I talk about, they don't know what I'm talking about. Blanca, we're playing a game, a Kahoot game. You need to get on your phone, get on the internet and go to kahoot.it, Kahoot.it. At the bottom of the screen, it tells you how to unlock it. When you get in there, enter this PIN number, 970-2012. It will allow you to answer the questions that we ask. So far on the leaderboard, we still got Florida girl up there. Florida girls 1, Jennifer's 2, Nora B and Noemi. A lot more questions to go. This game is not over. The question says, I pay my policy premium weekly. What's my grace period? Doggone it, we're going to learn this if it kills us. Weekly is a 7-day grace period. Everyone got it right. Donuts for everyone. Whoopee. Great job. 7-10-31, right? 7-10-31. You can forget your own phone number and only remember 7-10-31, and you will pick up probably 1 point on your test. Don't laugh about 1 point. You know, most common failing grade, 68 or 69. Every point is important. You got a chance to get a point, make sure you get it. Leaderboard did not change. So let's go to the next question. The next question says, allows the insured to review their policy and return it for a full refund. That is a free look and everybody got it right. Can I get my money back is what's answered by the free look. Excellent job. I think maybe I may be under teaching you people. You already know so much of this. Congratulations. Leaderboard's got to stay the same. You all got it right. Next question. Whenever they discover this, the insurer will adjust the benefit. Oh, what's that? Almost everyone got it right. Misstatement of age. So here's the way this works. Misstatement of age is not fraud. You want to get a cheaper rate, you're 45 and you tell the agent you're 35. Give them an incorrect birthday. You even do it on purpose. Okay? Believe it or not, that's not fraud. Whether it should be or not, we're not going to discuss. It's not fraud because what the insurance department allows is when the claim comes in, let's imagine it's a life insurance policy and our liar dies. When they get the death benefit, they're going to see the real birthday. And they're going to say, wait a minute. They've been paying us a 35-year rate, but they were 45. So what they are allowed to do is take a look at what payment they received and see how much insurance that buys a 45-year-old. It'll be less insurance and just adjust the policy down and pay them what they actually paid for at the correct age. So that's what misstatement's about. I probably didn't need to say all that because so many of you got it right. It's not fraud, but they can adjust the payments. Now, if I'm going through this and there's the answer in there, a wrong answer in there, and you don't know what it is, and you want me to explain it, ask me. Sometimes I know the answer. So got nothing to lose, right? Next question. By the way, the leader changed and I didn't recognize it. I missed my payment, but I'm still covered. Grace period. Again, everyone got it right. What a smart class. I've taught some classes where people didn't know what a grace period was. 7/10/31, right? Well, that's the time of a grace period, but it isn't what it is. What it is says if you make a late payment or don't make a payment and you get a claim in the grace period, the insurance company has to pay it because during the grace period, you are covered. You guys all knew that. Okay, so doing so well, we're going to ask you to teach the next class. Jennifer, Florida girl, Nora Bonami, and B, congratulations. Let's see what the next question has for us. What value does an insured bring? Remember we talked about each party has to bring value? What does the insured bring? The insured fills out the application and pays the premium. The promise to pay, a lot of you thought it was that's what the insurer, the insurance company brings. The client pays the premium and makes accurate statements on the application. So they're different. Does the client promise to pay the premium? Somebody want to try to answer that? Either with a microphone or on a chat box. Does our client promise to pay the premium?
They do not.
They do not.
They do not. Promise to pay comes from the insurance company. Because if a client doesn't pay the premium, they lose coverage, but they can't get sued, right? So, good. You guys are smart. I got to get a harder questions. Let me see if I can find some harder questions. Let's see. I haven't looked at this. Florida girl, Jennifer, she just lets people get ahead and then she comes back and passes them. Well, you're a whopping 90 points ahead right now. Let's see how this keeps up. To change an irrevocable beneficiary, I need consent. Boy, you guys are getting this right. Maybe I should have asked you how to pronounce irrevocable, because some people correctly call it irrevocable. It's both acceptable. But since you don't take an audible test where you say anything out loud, once you name an irrevocable beneficiary, you cannot change it, period. If you must change it, they have to consent. Good luck. Okay. If they don't consent, you cannot change it. In fact, just to give you a little bit of gossip on the streets, the irrevocable beneficiary does not, you can't even change the policy. Not just the beneficiary, you can't even change the policy. What do you mean? I have $1 million policy and I have named my wife as an irrevocable beneficiary because I'm absolutely sure she's my goddess forever. She takes off with the pool guy. Oh gosh, you probably never heard of scandal like this. And I'm sitting here with an irrevocable beneficiary and I say to the insurance company, the heck with that. I don't want to give her $1 million, change my policy to $10,000. You can't do it unless she signs off on it. So you say the heck with her. I'm not going to pay my premiums. If she doesn't consent to that, the courts can make you pay the premiums. That is why in almost 50 years of selling life insurance, I have never had an irrevocable beneficiary. Not the pool guy. It's always some weasel like that, isn't it? Next. Looks like Jennifer and Florida Girl are just, don't sleep on Nora. Nora is very close. Tells me the number of days I have to submit evidence of loss. That is the proof of loss. There's another one called notice of claim, which tells you that you have to pay, let the insurance company know in 20 days. But the proof of loss tells you how you can go about getting your payment made. Time payment of claims is a very tempting answer. It's just wrong, okay? And they'll do this to you. They'll have words there that, gosh, this has got to be the right answer. It's only a right answer for the people who didn't study this. If you studied it, you know it has to be proof of loss. But the people who give the insurance test, they are not below putting answers in there just to tempt you.
Excuse me,
Go ahead, please.
can you, I guess I missed the explanation of proof of loss and the claim of loss?
Notice of claim.
Notice of claim, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. Let's take an example from a homeowner's insurance, because it's the same thing, whether it's homeowners, life insurance, health insurance, the same principle.
I guess what threw me off was that it's asking for the number of days.
Yes. So in your homeowner's policy, you come home one day and the windows are broken and you know you've been burglarized, but you have no idea what exactly was taken, but you immediately call the insurance company and say, I've been burglarized. That's notice of claim. It's telling insurance company you're going to be getting a claim. And that's supposed to be done within 20 days of the loss. And that's a test question. How many days for notice of claim? But that's not proof of loss. They're not going to pay you until you submit proof of loss, where you go through and you itemize everything that was lost. You put a value on it, sign it, has to be in writing, sign it and send it to the insurance company. That's proof of loss. You give them written proof. And most states say that has to go in within 90 days of the loss. When you're studying, you'll see what the days, because if your state's slightly different, you'll pick it up. But I did that so you know there's a difference between notifying the insurance company there's a loss and then proving it, right? The proving one has to be in writing. The notice does not. Help? Was that okay?
Perfect, thank you.
Perfect. Whoa, nobody's perfect. But at least I don't have to work at Walmart on Monday. I keep in my job for one more question. Oh my goodness. When can the wording to a provision be changed? When it's more favorable, be cautious of never and always. Occasionally they could be correct, but never and always, we're always taught there's always exceptions. Be careful of choosing those words. Now, when it's more favorable, what do we mean by that? The insurance company is going to improve your coverage. By the way, and they're doing it at no extra charge to you, or they would have said so. And they can do that at any time. Hey, you want to make my policy better? Just send me a letter and say it's improved it. Okay. So they can do that anytime if it's more favorable. If it's less favorable, they can't do that. They can't make your policy worth less without an approval from you.
This is more of a hypothetical, but in the case of a irrevocable, could they change it if they made it more favorable or no? Like if it was an irrevocable situation where the you can't change it without getting permission, but would the company be able to change it if they made it more
No.
favorable?
No.
Okay.
Once you got a policy, insurance companies can't change policies without consent of the insured unless they're improving the language or covering something that may not have covered in the past, something like that. But they cannot alter your policy.
No, that's what I mean. Like if they were improving it, would they be able to do that even if the plan was irrevocable?
I would say yes, but what we're not talking about here is they're not going to be giving out more death benefit. Okay.
Oh.
They're not going to say you got $1 million, we're upping it to $1.5 million. They're not going to do that. Okay.
This was just a hypothetical thing that popped up in my head.
Hypothetical. And I guess technically, if it's just language, legal language, they could do it. But here's the good news. Never, ever, ever will it be on your test. It's just us having a cup of coffee, right? That's all that is. And so it's one of those discussions. We can pretty much, no offense to anybody, but we can pretty much ignore that in terms of importance to the test. By the way, I'm not here to offend anybody. If anybody gets offended by my stupid comments, forgive me. There's nothing wrong with working at Walmart. Some of my best friends work there, so don't ever be offended by me.
But the key word in that one is the provision.
Yes. Yes. Again, we have a pretty good idea what shows up on tests and what doesn't. That's a pretty shallow lake there. We don't seem to get questions on that. Okay. The only questions I get on irrevocable beneficiary is you can't change it without consent. If you know that, you're pretty much home on that topic. Next question. I get 90 days to submit this. That's the proof of loss. Remember, proof of loss, 90 days, notice of claim 20. Now, I think it's probably true that both of those could be found under time payment of claims. Okay, but they wanted to know specifically what is the 90 days. The 90 days is the proof of loss. So make sure your answer answers the question that's asked. I don't know if that's too simple to take for granted or whatever. How we doing here? Florida girl back in first. Florida girl and Jennifer are competing very tenaciously. Noemi has moved up to third quietly. Nell, who's not even on the board, has gotten 10 right in a row. Let's give some credit where credit's due. Next question. Tells the insurer by when they need to pay the claim. To me, there was only one answer that even made sense. Payment of claims. Claim forms doesn't tell the insurance company how long they have to cut a check to the client. But you will find that in time payment of claims, okay, not on the claim form. So if that you're thinking that time payment of claims is more clearly the correct answer to the question asked. Let's see. Scoreboard stays the same, and I think we only have 3 questions left in the
What was
game.
that question just then? Oh, never mind.
Good thing I got a bad memory. What is this question? I didn't read it. What value does the insurer bring? Their value is they promise to pay the claims. Okay. The application and the premium is the insured duh. I'm going to assume you read the question too quickly and you thought they're asking about the insured duh rather than the insurer. Okay. We have 2 questions left. We have a new student, Isaac. Isaac, welcome to our game. We only have 2 questions left in this particular game. Then we're going to play another. If you want to compete, you go to kahoot.it on your phone and enter the PIN number 970-2012. There's only 2 questions left to this game. And let's see, scoreboard stayed the same. Nell, 12 in a row, really good. Fraud's always contestable. What's that? This probably is a tough question. Time limit on certain defenses. You have a chapter on provisions in the health insurance section that you're studying. One of the provisions is called time limit on certain defenses. That is really hard. That doesn't tell me anything. Time limit on certain defenses. The way I learned that, I'm going to take a minute here to do a little teaching. So if you want to write some notes, feel free. Time limit on certain defenses tells the insurance company there are certain times when you may not have to pay a claim. Okay. So if somebody gave misinformation on the application and a claim comes in, you may not have to pay that claim, but it's all defined under time limit of certain defenses, depending on what information was incorrect. However, fraud is always contestable. So if you buy a policy fraudulently and you have a claim 9 years later, they don't have to pay it in health insurance. Okay. So contestable means, can the insurance company contest the claim? You send in a claim and they're saying, wait a minute, I don't think we have to pay that. That's contesting the claim. And they can contest claims for certain reasons. But if you look at the information, it's really hard for them to contest claims, except this one, which is the one they always ask on the test, fraud. Fraud is always contestable, no matter when it occurs. Now, right here, please write this down. What's fraud? Fraud contains 2 elements. It must be intentional and it must be material. It's a life insurance question also, but contestability is different in life insurance, okay? But time limit on certain defenses, explaining how you can contest a claim, it primarily lives in the health insurance area. Yes, Bobby, okay? But I want to talk about contesting claims. If I put information on the application that I know is wrong, and I put it there on purpose, that's intentional. That doesn't make fraud yet. I'll give you an example. I'm a really old dude. Have you ever had an operation? Well, when I was 8 years old, I had my tonsils out. But I don't want to tell you about it because it's stupid. The hospital's closed, the doctor's dead. I'm just going to lie to you and say, no, I never had surgery. While that's intentional, it doesn't rise to the level of fraud for this reason. It was not material. If the insurance company had known that, they still would have made the same decision. Okay, a tonsillectomy 100 years ago, they would have made the same decision. But what if it was cancer? I don't have cancer and I know I do. Well, that's intentional and it absolutely is material. So later on, I put in a claim for cancer. They don't have to pay it in health insurance. Okay, Bobby, I'm glad you made that clear. Health insurance fraud is always contestable. Now, since I'm here to do life and health, let me wander off into the woods for a second. In life insurance, fraud is only contestable for 2 years. That's it on life insurance. So if I buy a life insurance policy, I lie to the insurance company about cancer, and they don't figure that out. They give me a policy. I die 3 years later, they have to pay that claim because the contestability in life insurance is 2 years on fraud. But in health insurance, fraud is always contestable. That's why I say you got to be writing this stuff down. Folks, you're never going to remember all the stuff I throw at you. I mean, tell the truth. Tomorrow morning, you don't even remember my name or if I wore glasses. If you're not writing it down, it's going to slip away from you. So that's why I encourage you to write stuff down. Anybody had a question about me, though? Bobby, that was a good question. No questions? I move on for the last question of the game to see who our winner is going to be. And Nora has moved up to 3rd place. Florida Girl and Jennifer are slugging it out with 1 question to go. And it is, can be renewed till 65 with no premium increase? That is your non-cancelable policy. Oh, I'm disappointed. Only 2 out of 10 got it right. Non-cancelable, we cannot change the rates. Guaranteed renewable, we can change the rates on a class basis. Optionally renewable, they can change the rates. That's not a very good policy for the insureds, optionally renewable. They can just get rid of you if you don't like you, okay? In terms of the rates, the ones that can't be changed, non-cancelable. That's what we would call in the bar business top shelf liquor, okay? Non-cancelable, the best policy. Can't take it away from you, can't raise the rates. Guaranteed renewable, they can't take it away from you, but they can raise the rates. Fair enough? You all wrote that down. You're never going to miss that on the test.
I was gonna ask, can you explain that one more time? Because I know I failed the health exam 3 times and I keep getting a 69 on.
Oh, God, no.
So I'm trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong.
You're not praying enough. No, I'm sorry.
And I think the non-cancelable, guaranteed renewal, cancelable, and optional renewal, I get so confused. And like when they ask the question on the exam in the different scenarios, I don't know why. It's just like my mind is just all over the place with it.
got a mental block on it. I do that in certain areas too. Different students have different ways of doing it. For me, I like to write them on an index card. I want to make it up myself. And I just put non-cancelable, no rate change, guaranteed renewable, can change rates, not class basis. Optionally renewable, insurance company can not renew you for any reason at all. Cancelable, they can cancel you for any reason. Just in your own language, write it down there and go over it in a repetitious way. That's one way to do that. And putting them all on one card so you can see the difference sometimes can be really helpful. And then other people create little poems or little hooks to help them remember. I'm not that clever. Maybe something non-cancelable and can't change the rates. If there's something in there that can't change rates or something, it has to work for your brain, right? I call it a hook. A hook is something that when you hear it, you think of something else. So you
Mhm.
got to create some kind of a hook in there. Some people do it with rhymes. Some people do it with letters. Some people do it with a song or something, but just kind of try. You got to get non-cancelable as the best policy. Number one bestseller. And then the guaranteed renewable is a great policy, but they can raise your rates. The other ones, not so hot, right? They can take those policies away from you on optionally renewable and cancelable. But
So
if you could try to,
did you
go
say
ahead.
on guaranteed renewable, on guaranteed renewable, you said that's a great policy and they can raise your rates?
They can raise the rates on a class basis, meaning they can't single one person out because they had claims, but they can give people increases. Well, here, do you own auto insurance?
Yes,
Okay, does your rate go up?
yes,
That's like a guaranteed renewable policy.
okay,
Every year at renewal, they can raise your rates, right? Now, it's not technically correct to compare health insurance with auto. I just want to get the concept of getting my rates increase. And in health insurance, almost all the policies are guaranteed renewable. I mean, who has a health insurance policy that doesn't keep going up?
now what
Right.
about option renewable?
I hope nobody has that policy. I mean, that's a bad policy because that means at any time, the insurance company can say, we're not going to continue your policy. They don't even have to have a reason. Stinks to have a policy like that. So you need to know it for the test, but I can't imagine anybody ever buying it. Worse, I
Right.
can't imagine anybody ever selling that to somebody.
So the
Right.
so option renewal, the insurance company has the right to,
Yes, because think about it this way. I don't know who I'm talking to. What's your name?
my name is Neil.
Okay. An insured can always cancel a policy. You don't have to keep a policy. Even if you have a non-cancelable, you can cancel it. We're talking about what the insurance company can do. The insured can cancel any policy they want. Okay. I joined a religion that tells me I can't own insurance, so I'm canceling all my insurance. You have a right to do that. This is what the insurance company is allowed to do. Does that help?
Yes,
Okay. We're always talking about the insurance company when it comes to renewing, because we know the client does not have to keep a policy. You can drop it. There's no law says you have to have it. Well, maybe your auto liability coverage, but you can stop paying your policies, right?
yes. Mhm.
We still
Thank you
friends?
so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much for explaining that for me.
I'm happy to do that. That's why I am
I have
here.
a question.
Yep,
So the optional is only on the renewable date.
that's correct. And I'm glad you said that. The cancelable one is the one they can get rid of you in the middle of the year. That's the stinker of the bunch. Okay. Optionally renewable, you can at least keep it until a policy comes up for renewal. But then they don't have to renew you and they don't even have to have a reason. Okay.
And then can you tell me again the time payment of claims?
Time payment of claims tells when the insurance company has to pay a claim. Okay. And it's all listed in the policy. Usually, once they have all the information in, you have to pay a claim on a reasonable basis. Some policies say within 60 days. When you study, you'll see that. But time payment of claims is merely what time do they have to pay the claims. Now, the forms, we as the insured have to get the forms in a certain time, right? We have to notify them of the claim within 20 days. That's a test question. And we have to prove the loss within 90. Those are both test questions that are easy to learn. Let's give out prizes. Podium, third place goes to Nora. Congratulations, Nora. Second place goes to Jennifer. That means first place is going to Florida Girl. All right, now, Florida Girl. We don't know who you are. What city are you from in Florida? Or were you born in Florida, or what's the deal on your name? Port St. Lucie. Ah, training facility for the New York Mets. You've heard of it. Okay. Welcome. Congratulations. Hey, how about do some life insurance now? You guys ready for that?
Before you go to the next test, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Okay, so this will be my my fourth time taking both of the tests tomorrow. And I have some test anxiety, and I know that. How do I make sure I'm reading the questions correctly?
Oh, wow. That is a great question, by the way. For me, I won't allow myself to answer a question until I've read it twice, even a simple question. I want to read it twice, and then I ask myself, what are they asking for? Sometimes you'll see a lot of words. You got to figure out what's the real question and then go find the right answer. But make sure you've got the question clear in your mind. I don't know how many questions you got in your test, 150, 100, what?
I'm in Kentucky, so we only have 50 questions, but not a single category has more than like 8%.
Got it.
The low is 3%, and you just gotta know stuff. And I've gone into it every time, and like when I try and go back afterwards and think, okay, what were the questions that I think I might have known and not known, and my mind just goes blank.
So you've got to get 70 to pass.
Yep.
So you can miss 15 questions, not 16, right?
Yeah.
So you want to really be careful with that few questions. You want to be careful that you understand the question, okay? And try to find the answer that best answers the question. I don't have any great wisdom other than that. Anybody on the street could have told you the same thing, but don't try to be a speed demon. Take your time. Consider the words in the question, and then read all the answers and figure out which one most clearly answers it. And I'm sorry, that's the best I have for you tonight.
Can
No,
can I tell her something? Who's speaking?
This is Chanel.
Chanel. I have huge anxiety when it comes to these tests. I did my test in Greenville, North Carolina 4 times. And then I went to a different facility. They put me in a private room with a fan, a sound machine, and the whiteboard. I did not write anything on my whiteboard this time. I turned the fan on and I read the questions out loud. And guess what? I passed. I think it's me reading the questions out loud that made all the difference in the world. And I took my time.
Okay.
I don't know if you can have a private room, but it made all the difference in the world to me.
Okay.
Who gave the advice?
That was Rhonda. This Rhonda.
Thank you, Rhonda. That's really, really helpful. I think those
Question for
are good.
Rhonda.
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was the best experience. I felt like I was in a dream when she opened the door and I turned her. She said, "Oh, you don't have to worry about this survey." And I said, "What?" And I just screamed. And I was in the testing facility.
So
She
did you
said,
ask, I'm sorry, Rhonda.
Yes.
Did you ask, did you request for that? Or did you just mention to her that you had
I-
anxiety?
I went on a college campus this time, and that was huge for me because I even booked it somewhere else. I wasn't familiar with the campus, and the place before was just one building, and it was a testing center, and everybody was in the same room. And I happened to book my test in the afternoon. I had not been doing that. I had been doing it in the morning. And the day before, I went to check out the facility to make sure I knew where I was going to be. And she told me, she said, "You booked yours in the afternoon, so you will get a private room because we're slow in the afternoon." And this place, the college campus, of course, had a room with, like, like the other place. But she said, because we're slow in the afternoon, we give testers their private room. All I got to say is what he said, Peter said, "Pray hard."
Thank you so much.
You got it.
Please go slowly. Okay, I want to do some life insurance before our 2 hours runs out. So let's do some life insurance. I'm going to start off by sharing my screen here. And you guys should be seeing that I'm in Kahoot with a different PIN number. It's now 893-8820, and we're going to talk about life insurance policies. Okay. And that's all we're going to be talking about here, not provisions. There's only a certain amount of time for these games. We're going to be doing policies.
Peter, can you do games every night?
We have them booked through Insurance Exam Queen. And no, I can't do them every night. We're booking them in. We're also booking some teaching for me. There are games on tapes. If you go to Melissa, she records a lot of games. This is only this. I'm just helping Melissa out for the first time this week. I'm going to stay with her, absolutely committed to her. So this is only the second time I've taped games for her, but one's on there already. It may not be a topic you need, but we do post them. So look on her website to see how you can be helped. And whenever if it's me particular, whenever I'm doing a game or doing a teaching, it'll say my name. Okay. I'm going to start the game. Life insurance policies. 3, 2, 1. First question. If the insured can use the policy while alive, what does it have? It has living benefits. Now we have a word for living benefits that usually rings the bell, and that is cash value. Okay. Living benefits and cash value. You don't have to be dead to get at that money. Okay. That's what that's about. Let's do another question. I'm not going to pay much attention to who's in first place after one question. What policy is based on the S&P 500? Emphasis on question mark. That's the equity indexed life. This is a question the word, I don't know how familiar you are with the financial world, but equity is always involved in some sort of finance or investments and or stocks or something like that. And it says S&P 500. And that's where kind of equities live in the S&P 500. So even if you don't know what the policy is, you might have been able to figure it out just by looking at the name. I am not going to explain that policy right now, okay? First of all, it's hardly ever asked. It's a little technical to explain, and I want to get more questions under my belt of stuff that you actually are going to get. But I want to move forward on that. Equity and investments and S&P kind of go together is what I'm going to say. I will recognize after 2 questions, Jennifer's first and Florida Girl is second. Their competition continues.
Mhm.
Next question. Which policy is nicknamed second to die? That is survivorship. Folks, there are 2 policies that where you can insure more than one person. One is called a joint life and one is called survivorship. In a joint life, which is probably a little more common. So we have 2 people who are up in age, or like me, and my wife, and we want to buy life insurance, but 2 policies at our age kind of expensive. So we may consider a joint life. A joint life policy, put both of us on the same policy, figure out the average age, give us a rate, and we pay that. And the death claim is paid at first death, which is what we really need. If I die, I want her to have money. If she dies, we want me to have money, and then it's over. So we're not going to give anything to the kids. Okay, this is just for her and me. Joint life policy is kind of popular. Survivorship also allows us to insure a couple of people, but they don't pay at first death. Interestingly enough, they pay at last death. So that would be for money that you might want to pass on in your estate, because it's not really for each other. If I had a survivorship policy and I die, my wife gets nothing. But when she dies, it goes to the people we're concerned about. Now, how do I know the difference between a joint life and survivorship? And I teach it this way. Think of the word survivor. The survivor, when the survivor dies, that's when we pay. Anytime you see the word survivorship, it's going to be second death. Okay, so try to remember it that way. What's going on now with this board? Jennifer's here and Florida Girl. What happened to Florida Girl? Go to California or something? But anyways, I have a feeling Florida Girl will be back. Next question, variable requires what license or licenses? So life and securities are needed to sell a variable life policy. The reason being is a variable life policy is hooked into investments. And like your 401k, it can go up in good times and down in bad times. That's because it's involved with securities. You can't sell securities with a life license. You need to have a securities license. But to sell this life insurance policy, you need both life and securities. And that's the story on that question. Next question. How is the premium determined on joint and survivorship policies? It's based on the average age, okay? They take the average of the two. Janelle, the reason these are not familiar to you is so far we have not asked about the most commonly asked policies in a life insurance exam. The most commonly asked policies are term and whole life. Okay, and I don't think we've had a single question on either yet. What policy is known as a flexible premium adjustable life? Nora, I think your mic is still on. This is a universal life. Universal life is a flexible premium policy. Term life is not flexible premium. There's a rate on term life, that's what you pay. But in a universal life, you can change what you pay as you go along, which is why we call it a flexible premium policy. One of the major attractions of universal life is you can change what you pay. Because life has got good times and bad times, right? Some months it might be hard to make the payment, and a universal life can get you through that. So let's see what I'm doing here in the leaders. B, Isaac, Kelly, Jennifer, Noemi. B is new to me on the leaderboard. Congratulations. Next question. Which policy covers debt owed if the insured dies? That's called credit life. This is another tricky type of question. What the person who made up the test did is they put words that all sound like they could be right. Loan life, debt life, payment life. The only reason you can get this right is if you studied. Those three don't exist. You will not find them in your text, but you will find something called credit life. I have borrowed money, and if I die, that debt is paid off. It's called credit life. Okay. Why not debt life? I don't know. Why is there oxygen? You know, some questions can't be answered. It's the only one that's in the book, credit life. So it's, if you've studied and you've seen it, you get it right. If you haven't studied it and you're just guessing at what sounds like, you could easily miss this question.
But
Okay.
the debt made a difference in that question. You owe money. So the credit, credit cards.
Yep. It's just, for me, if you've read the books and you've studied and you've got answers on your test that you've never seen, they're probably wrong. You know, it's not below these test makers to make up a policy. And you say, I never studied that. Yeah, you didn't study because it doesn't exist. Okay. And these are not nice people who make up these tests. So stay with what you've seen. And at least you've got the odds in your side, right? Next question. Which policy is temporary? Wow, that didn't take you guys very long. Term insurance is temporary. You are covered at the lowest rate for a period of time. For a period of time. There's a time in the future when this policy will either cease to exist or they're going to bump the rates up on you. So it's only for a period of time. So it protects you when you have a need, but there's the chance that you could die after it goes away because it only lasts for a certain period of time. So it'd be great for covering a debt. It would be great for protecting your family until the children grow up. I mean, it's got great places, but please remember T's, term, temporary, okay? Connect the T's. I'm not going to pay too much attention to the scoreboard for a few more questions. I want to make sure we're getting some material out to you people. Which policy has a death benefit that does not change over time? Everybody got it right. Increasing term, the death benefit increases. Decreasing term, the death benefit decreases. Set term doesn't exist. Okay, some alternate universe, but it doesn't exist. Level term, the death benefit stays level, but you guys all knew that. Okay, let's just go to the next question. What policy covers more than 2 people and pays on the second death? Can anyone remember? That's your survivorship. Survivor, second. Okay, survivor. Joint life pays on the first death. But if you see the word survivor, please think second death. All right, now I'm going to see what the leaderboard says. Noemi is first, Jennifer is second, B, Isaac, and Kelly are the other ones. How close is this? Pretty doggone close between the top. All of you are one question away from taking the lead. Next question. All the following are characteristics of a group policy except. Except questions means 3 of these answers are right. 3 are right. You're looking for the wrong one. Well, we don't take medical histories on group insurance. If you've ever worked for an employer that has group insurance, you never were asked about your health. You just had to say, I'm working there, choose the plan, and you got the insurance. Now, the other ones are all true. The purpose of group that can buy the insurance, they have to exist for a reason other than buying insurance. What do I mean by that? If all of us, excuse me, I need the lozenge. If all of us got together for a barbecue this weekend, and we're talking, you know, group insurance is less than individual policies, why don't we be a group? We'll call ourselves the Barbecue Club of 2023, and the Barbecue Club will go by a group policy. Can't do that, because the only reason we're existing other than eating is to buy insurance, and you can't do that. So obviously an employer and employees are in some kind of business, they can buy group insurance because they're together because they have a business. But you got to have a reason for existing other than just buying insurance. The financial strength of the company, of the group, is very important. When we as an insurance company decide what rate to give a group, we got to find out about the group. How strong is the financial situation of the group? How large is the group? How old is the group? What the heck do they do for a living? Do they just work the phones? Or are they coal miners? That'll affect the rate. What never, ever affects the group rate is individual health of the people. The insurance companies don't even ask. They'll get a rate based on the size, the age, and the occupation that they do. They'll figure out a rate. And that's how we underwrite group insurance. leadership change, Jennifer, then Kelly, Noemi, B, and Isaac. Remember, don't let me go too fast. You guys were great asking questions in the first one. Don't be shy on this one. If a policy can be changed from term to whole life, it's known as. Uranus, that's correct. And that last question, group, was a key word. If you can change from a term policy to a whole life policy, no questions asked, you just say, I want it, the insurance company will give it to you. That's called a convertible policy. I understand the temptation of flexible, it's just the wrong answer. Here's the way I teach convertibility. Again, somebody's got a mic on. And if you want to ask a question, go for it. I'm not trying to cut you off.
Well, I just wanted to, this is one that always trips me up.
Mhm.
Because I know that you can go from one to the other, but I always forget which one you can't like go to.
All
I
right,
think it's term to whole life,
correct.
but I
Let me-
might be,
No, you're not wrong. Be confident in yourself.
okay.
First thing, convert. Everybody knows what it means to convert. You're changing. You might be changing your religion, okay? Or something like that. You're converting. So that means the policy is changeable. I can only go up in premium, if that makes any sense. The insurance company will allow you to buy a more expensive policy, not a cheaper one, right? And we know term is the lowest priced, correct, Chanel? So I can go from term to whole life because that's going to cost me more money. So they'll let you do that. Now, is that a bad deal for you? Well, it depends. If your term's going to run out and you want a policy to last for your whole life, listen to my language, then you might want to do that. Okay. And if you have stage 4 cancer and you have a convertible policy, they have to let you go do that as standard rates. That's the advantage of a convertibility clause. It means that you can do it, no questions asked. So an extreme example, I'm talking to Chanel, but I'm only talking to all of you. You're leaving work to go home to die. You got stage 4 colon cancer and the doctor gives you 3 months. So you're never going to work again. And guess what? No insurance company anywhere is going to insure you for life insurance. You take that group policy, which is term, and convert it. Convert it to a whole life policy, pay the 3 months, your family gets the money. Even though you were losing the group, you got to keep it through a conversion. Does that make some sense? Does that help a little
That
bit?
does.
Chanel?
The story helps.
Okay, so the insurance company will say, oh, you want to pay us more? Any day of the week. But if you say, I want to go from my whole life to term, not so interested. Okay?
Yes,
Is flexible a thing?
There is a flexible policy, but it's, we're not asking about a policy. We're asking what we call the provision that allows you to change policies. And no, flexible doesn't pertain to that. The two things on term policies that you need to know, if you want to write them down, are convertible and renewable. Both are important clauses. Convertible gives you the ability to change that policy to a whole life, no questions asked. Renewable allows you to renew the term policy when the rates go up. Remember, I told you term's only good for a while. And if it's renewable, say you have a policy that for 10 years, a 10-year term, that means after 10 years, that policy is gone, but it has a renewability clause, which means 10 years from now, you can renew it, but you're going to renew it at your new age. So your rate's going to go up. If my policy was not renewable after the 10 years, I'm done with insurance. Most term policies are renewable because people may want to keep them but they just have to pay a higher rate if they renew it. Convertible means I'm getting out of the term game. I'm going to a policy. Here's how I remember whole life. Whole life protects you for how long? Your whole life. Whether you die tomorrow at 99, it's still got a death benefit for you. Okay? Helpful? I hope so. Yep. It's correct, Bobby, I think. Let's see. No change in the leaderboard. Elizabeth has to be recognized for getting 10 in a row correct. Next question. Term insurance premiums are. Oh, I like that free one. Term premiums are always level. You pay the same amount for the time of the term. Okay, they're not flexible. They're not adjustable. Of course, it's not free. So if I got a 10-year term, I got a rate, that'll be the same rate for all 10 years. If I have a decreasing term where the insurance comes down to cover a debt, my payment's always level. I still pay the same amount every year. Term insurance premiums, what's a premium? It's what I pay. The insurance company always stays level for the length of time of the policy. Okay. Thank you, Isaac. That's not to me, that's to the class. A little praise and encouragement from Isaac. Next question. Which life insurance require a separate account? That is the variable life. It's at least the second question we've had in a variable life. My experience with test is you're not going to get many questions on a variable life, and here we're sitting on 2 already. Variable life is a policy where the funds get invested in securities. Remember, stocks, bonds? Because of that, when we pay the insurance company, they don't put that money in their general fund. They have to invest it the way you told them to invest it. So you'll pick like a fund. They'll buy that fund for you, and your policy will go up or down. So what do we know about a variable life? You got to have a life license and a securities license. And that policy comes with no guarantees. We don't know what your cash value is going to be. We don't know what your death benefit can be because it depends on the market when you need the money. Okay, that's what makes it variable. Don't worry about this policy. There's only a couple questions they can ask. One of them is the separate account. If you see the word separate account, the answer is going to be a variable life. It's the only policy where we actually put the money in a separate account. So that's a little tip on that one. Looks like Isaac moved up to 3rd place. We're now going to question number, I'm not sure. If a policy can be renewed, it's known as renewable. It's a renewable policy, okay? Believe it or not, you people have taken the test, you kind of know the game a little bit. There are some very, very difficult questions, but I think you'll have to admit in the light of day, there are also some questions that are so simple that you don't need to have taken the course to actually get it right. I'm not trying to make fun of the person who didn't get this right, but this was as clear a question as can be. If you can renew it, it's a renewable policy. The answer is right in the question, okay? And so, yeah, take all the easy ones you can get. Don't panic on the hard ones. Be cool-headed, read it slowly, look it over, think about it, and pick the one that makes the most sense. However, you'll probably pass or fail by the questions in the middle, where there's enough information in the question to find the right answer. Have you studied enough to figure out from the clues in the question, which of those answers fits it? And if you're got that kind of skill, you'll be able to get enough points to pass, okay? So Chanel, you're taking the test, get a good night's rest. You want to be clear-headed when you take the test. You don't want to be exhausted.
That's my goal tonight.
Yeah, don't look at, you've worked hard enough, let your brain rest and go in there and just stay calm, take your time and do the best you can. And if you've studied hard and you answer with a cool head, I'm betting on you, okay? Let's see what we got. B moved up to third place. We only have a few questions left. Which policy is permanent? Connect permanent to a whole life. You know, the purpose of a whole life policy literally is to design a policy that person can keep for their whole life. Term won't do that if you live a long time. Term protects people against an unexpected death when there's a lot of needs around. But if the average age of an American is right now, I think around 70 something, and if you live that long, you probably won't have a term insurance policy that can possibly live that long, okay? You're going to have some form of whole life that's going to cover you into the later ages. That's why we call it a permanent policy, okay? You guys all got that right. You know what's going on there. Next question. Which policy has cash value? Term life never has cash value. When I sell term insurance, I tell my clients, you just bought a 2-clause policy. The clause 1 says you live, you pay. Clause 2, you die, we pay. That's all there is to it. Death benefit only. No complications in term insurance. Whole life is more complex. Because it's designed to last your whole life, it builds up cash value, or the first question of the test, living benefits. That's the properties of a whole life policy. Florida girl, 5th place. Back on the picture. Next question. Which policy is nicknamed First to Die? That's your joint life. So it seems like you guys got joint life and survivorship life down. There are not a lot of questions on those, but if you pick up the one or two questions and don't leave any on the board, that's all points in your basket, right? Board stayed the same. Question number 19, who gets a copy of the policy in group insurance? Who gets a copy of the policy? By the way, clue, there's only one policy in group insurance. The group sponsor, for most people, that would be the employer. So if the employer gets a policy, what do the employees get? They get certificates. They don't get policies. Rhonda, you asked a question. Can you repeat the two clauses? Rhonda, I can't remember what I ate for dinner. What were we talking about with the two clauses? Was that renewable and convertible? I don't remember. What were the two
Well,
clauses?
you said you tell your clients.
Oh, term
that they
insurance?
give you a term.
Yeah, term insurance. You live, you pay. You die, we'll pay. That's all to it. You buy a term policy and after a year, you're still alive, pay us again. And it'll keep going. If you die, we'll pay you. And if the term runs out, you had protection. Okay? That's the simplicity of term insurance. That's why it's the lowest cost policy. You get the most for the least with term insurance because the insurance company knows you've only got it for a while. Okay?
And then you said the employer gets the certificate on this
No.
right here.
Group insurance, the policy goes to the employer. There's one policy that's called a master policy. There's no other policy. So that's got to go to the guy who's paying for it, right? The employer. What do the employees get? They get a certificate that says they're covered. They don't actually get policies. Leaderboard did not change. We only have two questions left in life insurance policies. Which policy is the least expensive with the most coverage? Oh, I think I gave that away. That is term. The most for the least is term insurance. If you need a lot of protection, to get it for the least amount of money, just buy a term policy. If you've ever listened to life insurance ads on the radio, I mean, they tell you can get $1 million for $40 a month. Is that right? Yeah, it could be. If your age and health is right, it's really not expensive, but it only lasts for a while, which is maybe all you need. I need $1 million until the kids grow up. Perfect. Term insurance will take care of you. And you don't need to worry if you get called to the choir before your time. If you know what I mean. Let's see what's going on here. Leadership stays the same. We only have one question left. And it is, what policy covers more than two people and pays on first death? Well, we sure got a lot of that in this quiz. First death is joint life. Survivorship is second. Okay. Let's do a quiz. I mean, award ceremony. And then I got a bonus a bonus treat for you guys. B is in third place. Second place goes to Kelly, and first place goes to Jennifer. Congratulations. Congratulations to all of you for playing. Let me go back to my main screen where I can see myself. You know, we started a few minutes late, and I have a couple minutes. So what I want to do, if you want to stick around a little bit, I want to go over something about a whole life policy. I don't have any slides. I don't have a whiteboard that I'm going to use. I'm going to just try to explain it and hope you can stay with me. So let me start off with a question. Non-forfeiture options. That's on the test. It's part of a whole life policy. People get all gummed up on non-forfeiture options. What I'd like to do is take 5 or 6 minutes and try to make sense of that for you. So that's what I'm going to do at the end of the class right now, okay? Let's start off with its name, non-forfeiture. Everybody in this class, I'm sure, knows what the word forfeit means. Forfeit means to give up. But this benefit says non-forfeiture. You can't give up. You're not allowed to give up. That's exactly correct, Isaac. You're not allowed to give up. What is it I can't give up? There's a part of your whole life policy you can't give up because it's legally yours. That's your cash value. That's not the property of the insurance company. It's legally your money. So you want to just quit your insurance. I'm done with this. I don't need it anymore. Won the lottery or whatever. I don't want insurance anymore. And I'm not going to pay you guys for my insurance. Cancel my whole life policy. Well, that's fine. Excuse me, I hit my camera. But we got to do something with your cash value. The insurance company can't keep it. So the first option is cash it out. Okay. What you do is you tell the insurance company, cash it out. They cancel the policy. They send you a check for your cash value. That's the most common option. It's the easiest to understand. So guess what? That's not the one that trips us up. The other ones that Isaac mentioned, reduced, paid up, and extended term, for some people are difficult to understand. And I can't promise I'm going to make sense of it, but I'm going to try. Let's look at the extended term first. In your mind, picture a tape measure that rolls up. In a tape measure, you can extend it, correct? You can make it larger, but it only goes so far. You might only have a 5 or 6 foot tape measure. You can extend it, but not forever. The word extend means you can extend it. So on extended term, you don't want your policy anymore. You don't want the cash. What are my other choices? I can give you extended term, which means, you know, this policy for $100,000 whole life, we're going to continue to cover you for $100,000. You don't have to make any payments. We're going to pay for it with your cash value, but guess what? It will run out like the tape measure. Okay. A lot of cash value, you might be lasting quite a while. Not much cash value, a little bit of time. What we're going to do with extended term is we're going to keep you covered for the same amount on a term policy, which we know some date in the future will run out, but you'll have the coverage. I don't like the way that thing runs out. What's the other one? The other one is reduced paid up. Think of the word. I'm going to reduce your $100,000 to a lower benefit. It's going to be a fully paid for whole life. In other words, you don't owe us any more money. It's going to be for less death benefit, but it'll pay whenever you die. Tomorrow or age 99, you're going to get the death benefit. It just won't be for 100,000. So your choice is, and let's be clear, 98% of the people take the cash. So these aren't chosen a lot. Do I take extended term or reduced paid up? And you want to make sure you understand how they work because you're going to get questions on them. Extended term, I extend my coverage for a period of time in a term policy. Reduced paid up, I get a fully paid up policy for my whole life. It's just for less money. So I'm going to either have a term policy for a lot, a whole life policy for less. I don't pay on either. Hopefully by clearing up the words, maybe the concepts will be a little better. I will tell you a true life story and it'll end my evening. We had a client who lost his job. He was humiliated, couldn't pay his life insurance and didn't. And he went out looking for a job, is working his butt off trying to find a job. Got killed in a car accident. True story. His wife is going through the papers. She finds a letter from the insurance company, says, you didn't pay your policy premium. Your policy has lapsed. So it's bad enough she's lost her husband. She has children to bring up, but now she finds out she has no life insurance. The policy has lapsed. She had a great agent. The guy said, whoa, whoa, whoa. I think that's on extended term. The default option, if you don't cash your policy out, the insurance company automatically puts it on extended term. Looked at the policy, he was covered for like 8 years. And that $50,000 policy that she thought she wasn't going to get because he didn't pay the premium, they paid the full amount because of extended term. So why? He had cash value and he had to do something with that cash value. He didn't ask for it to become to him because he wanted to pay the policy. He just couldn't. And the insurance company's default option is to automatically put him on extended term. He died, they had to pay the whole death benefit. That's a real life story and hopefully an example of the difference between extended term and reduced paid up. So if you get a question on these non-forfeitures, you can put those points in your basket, which is what we want to do. I've exhausted my time. We do these games frequently at Insurance Exam Queen. We also teach classes at Insurance Exam Queen. We tutor, and Melissa sells programs that are absolutely magnificent. She's a dynamite teacher. And she goes through all the chapters in great detail. And they're very, very reasonably priced. So I'd ask you to check all that out. Check our calendar to see what's coming up. It's a pleasure helping you guys out. And if there's other ways we can help you, just put it on the website and we'll see what we can schedule to help you out. I believe what Melissa does with the recordings is she posts them. I'm not sure if she sends you emails as to the link, but look on the website to see if you've got a recording of this class. I know she recorded it. So you can by contacting her or right on the website. I know it's easy to find. Okay. So it'll be available to you. There, Melissa answered. You're going to get emailed. What could be easier? From the luxury of your own bed. Pleasure meeting with you guys. Good luck to you. And study hard. Be confident in yourself. And read all those questions. Good night, everyone.
I
We're
want
gonna
to
do-
thank you because I really did need this. I didn't play in the game because I didn't need the competition part of it, but I knew most of the answers. And that
Good.
makes me feel a lot more confident than I was going into this with, because I haven't had this much trouble with the test in a very long time. And it did kind of crash my confidence a little bit, because I used to be able to take a test, like learn the information in the night, take it the next day, and ace it.
Mhm.
And that did not go with this one.
Get a good night's rest and just go slowly.
Yes.
I liked what was it, Rhonda? Somebody gave you some great advice. If you can read it out loud, if you can position that, that is very helpful too.
Yes.
Good luck to you, Chanel. And
Thank you.
Martin also tomorrow. Good luck for you.
Bye.
Goodbye. Melissa will send the email. Melissa never misses that. So I'm going to end the class. Good luck to everybody. And it's a pleasure being with you.